Earlier we saw how we can get data using fetch, and of course we can also post using fetch. So I've got a URL here that I can post to, and what it's going to do is it's going to simply return back whatever it gets posted within a JSON format. So let's try this out, and we need to make some updates. So let me grab that URL. And instead of our joke URL, we're going to be posting to this URL. So let's update our fetch to have this URL, and we're going to be looking for a response of JSON. So when we click it, we see that we're getting this undefined because, of course, there's no image and there's no return of the same parameters. So that's always something to keep in mind, that once you connect to one API, doesn't necessarily mean that the other API is going to be the exact same. So in this case, we've connected to the URL, but we've got some parameters that we wanted to pass within fetch as well. And let me get rid of some of the stuff that we have here. I can actually clear out a lot of the stuff that we did earlier. And I'm going to do it all within that one call. So we've got our promise. We'll keep our error one, because that's always good to have an error, of course. And this time, what we're going to do is we're going to go back a little bit and add in the additional promises. So the first promise that we have a function where we've got our response. So this is the promise where we return back a response, and then we want to do something with that response information, and we'll go and we'll do it reverting back to what we had done earlier. So we've got response, and because it's going to be JSON formatted, we can send it in a JSON format and use the JSON method. And then next we're grabbing another function, and this time we should be getting back our data, and it should be formatted within a JSON format. And for now, let's just console log this out. So we've got our data coming in there. And then last but not least, let's keep that catch there. Save it, and let's try that out. Let's see what happens. So right now we're doing a get to it, and we're retrieving completely blank object. We're not getting anything back in return, but we don't have any failures. So that is all working. So now we're ready to update this and actually do a post instead of a get. So by default, it was just using get, but we can enter in parameters here. So this is going to be in object format. So we're doing the rounded brackets, and we can specify method here. So we've got the key or the name here. So name is method, and we're doing a post. So commas separate them out, and we've got headers. So we can set headers as well. So headers is also within an object format. So just like when we were returning that content type, we can also set the content type here as well within a JSON format. So this is application, and it's x www forum. So we're going to be simulating submitting something via a forum. So we're URL encoded, and we're going to also specify the character set. So the character set UTF-8. So that would be some typical content that might be sent in via a form. And then also, this is where we actually add in our content. So we're going to keep it within a JSON format, and we're going to use a variable for this one. So my data. So next, we need to create our my data object. So we'll do const my data. So this is simulating once again, and we're going to change it into an actual form afterwards. So I just want to first always make sure that everything is working. So we'll do lorem ipsum, so simulate two values there. So let's see what happens. Let's try this out. So there we go. So what's happening here is we're doing a round trip to the server, and we're able to pass in both of those parameters. So what's happening here is that we're sending our data over to the server's picking that up and returning it in a JSON format. So next step is to build out a form where we can actually submit data and we can see it being returned back in the console. So I'll show you how to do that coming up in the next lesson.